Welcome back to Growler Model Painting, and as you can hopefully notice, we've invested a bit of money into some new video camera equipment. So we've got a Canon HD camera. Hopefully we'll be getting some 720 videos up for you. We've got a new stand for the camera, so we can do loads of different new angles. Now this is the first time we're trying it. And this video is about how to paint space walls, and these are just a few space walls that I've painted recently. So I'll just go through some base colours that you're going to need to start off with. So obviously you're going to need shadow grey, new paints, it's the Fang in the new paints. I don't use Space Walls grey just because I think for these darker models here it's a very bright colour. I just don't use it. So shadow grey base coat. You're obviously going to need colours like black, yellow. The yellows you'll need. On the shoulder pads, don't use pure yellow. I use a mixture of Tau Sept Ochre base colour and golden yellow. So there's golden yellow. Tau Sept Ochre is there. So you'd do a 50-50 mix. You'll need colours like Mechrite Red is a base for your reds. You'll need blood red for your shoulder pads. Other colours that aren't 100% necessary, colours like Charadon Granite for highlighting black, or you'll probably also need a range of browns. So the range of browns I'm going to use are Scorched Brown as a base, and then I would usually use Besital Brown. So that's it. After Besital Brown, Snakebite Leather, which is just the next step up from Besital Brown. Final highlights, Vomit Brown, which is a tan colour. And then if you want, a bit of Bleached Bone as the final highlight. That's just a range of the paints you're going to need, so I would advise going getting them before carrying on with this video. Okay, so the first step you're going to want to start with, we're going to work on this model here. You're going to want to take your shadow grey, and you're going to want to use a large dry brush. We're going to coat the whole model in the shadow grey, which is also called the Fang in the new paints. They come out the 7th of April, I think. So not long ago. So what we're going to do is just take a little bit on your brush, like that, and just coat the model. Don't worry about anything. Just coat the whole model in this colour. Don't worry about getting it on parts that, like the gun and stuff like that, because you can change them at a later date. So if you feel like you need more paint, you just get straight from there. Obviously don't use too much, you don't want it going on too thick. In fact, if you're worried about going on a bit too thick, just water the paint down a bit. That's probably the best bet. I'm not watering the paint down here because I'm pretty confident that this isn't going to go on thick, but if you're worried about it, put a bit of water on your paint. So I'm just going to finish off this base coat and then we'll be back in a second. Alright, so next step, once it's fully base coated, I'm going to use some undercoat black, or Chaos Black. Just looking on the paints chart, I've got a big chart here for the new paints. So any paint I use here, I will translate it into what the new paints are in case you're watching post April 7th. So I've got a bit of water with this black, because obviously black's a thick paint. And what we're going to do is we're just going to go over the areas that need to be black on the model that we've painted over. So as he's a grey hunter, he's going to want a black and red shoulder pad. So the grey hunters always have the left shoulder pad black and red, or if it's a blood claw, it's going to be red and yellow on the left shoulder pad, is that's his individual marking, and then the other shoulder pad, his left shoulder pad, this one, is always his pack's marking. So my pack is yellow, I've picked that colour, like similar to Ragnar Blackmane's pack. So I'm just doing his black shoulder pad here. Other things you're gonna want to touch up with this black paint is his bolter. So just any area where you've got the blue on, I mean the shadow grey, and you want it to be black, you just touch it up. This step's just touch up step. So I'm just gonna go over the areas like that need touching up with the black. Right, so for the fur, I'm gonna take some Scorched Brown. It's equivalent in the new paint is Rhinox Hide. It's the darkest brown of the brown range. Bit of water it down, and we're gonna paint any fur on your Space Wolf. So he's got some kind of tassels hanging from his belt here, so I'm just gonna paint them with the Scorched Brown or Rhinox Hide in the new paint. So we'll just get them base coated, and then any other areas, he's got a tassel on his backpack there, so that's obviously going to be brown to match the others. You can see this bit of fur on his shoulder pad here, this is obviously going to be brown. So I'll just finish off base coating the brown, and we'll be back in a second. Okay, so now we're going to focus on this shoulder pad, which is his pack shoulder pad. Most people do them yellow, so I'm going to start with the Sept Ochre, I think it's called. In the new paints, this is called Vomit. Ah, sorry, no, it's now called Tau Light Ochre, so very little difference. So a bit of paint on your, bit of water on your brush. You're just going to take a decent sized chunk of this paint, put it on your tile or your mixing palette, and quickly clean the brush off, leave a bit of moisture on the brush, and get your golden yellow paint and take a really nice big chunk of that, and we're going to mix that straight into the Tau Sept Ochre. Or ochre, whatever you want to call it, and give that a really good mix, so you know it's nice, and it should be quite watery, because otherwise it'll go on a bit too thick and it might look a bit horrible. So just going to apply this straight onto the shoulder like this. The brighter you want it, obviously, the more golden yellow you add. But I don't like it too bright, because the contrast with the darker blue, shadow grey colour not look great. So just get that on there. All the way around that shoulder. Nice, and see how it's very runny, which is what you'll want, because you're not going to get all your brush strokes and stuff in the paint. I'm also going to do it on his right knee, just for the effect. So I'll get that on all around that knee. Okay. So I'll come back to this shoulder, just finish this off. Yeah, I'll be back in a second just to show you the next stage of base coating. Okay, so just finished that yellow. Now we're going to go with some dwarf bronze. If you're wondering what that is in the new paints, it's called Hashed Copper. So yeah, dwarf bronze, and we're gonna get it. I'm using a base coat brush here, and we're just gonna pick out areas like for a start, any ornate areas on the armour, like here on the backpack. I'm just gonna paint that, just dwarf bronze. I tend not to water this paint down because I don't know if it's just my paint, but my paint of this is like extremely watery, so if I put any water with it, it just goes everywhere. It's insane. So I just paint it straight on because it's already, you can see it's really watery. I'm having to apply quite a lot just to get a smooth coat. So any ornate areas like that, another good example of an ornate area I'd want to paint with dwarf bronze is, I hope you can see, but the kind of wing thing that you'd find on Space Marines, generally the Emperor's wings or whatever they're called, are paint them dwarf bronze as well. Now a good tip here might have been to actually leave the gun off the model, paint it separate so you can get in all these little details and stuff. It just makes it a little bit easier. The way I've done it, it's just going to be that little bit more complicated, that little bit more difficult for myself. So I would just paint that in like that. I'll come back to that and do it later. So these tassels were painted before. The bit that the top of the tassel, I usually paint them dwarf bronze as well, so we get a nice kind of ornate effect on them. I'll do that on obviously the front too as well. And any little bits of ornateness see here on the gun, there's some sort of little thing on the front of the gun. Paint that with the dwarf bronze as well, just to give it that little bit of extra detail. So I'll finish that off in a second, but for now I'll show you the best places to paint your bolt gun metal. So let's jump straight into that. The areas I would usually tend to paint bolt gun metal are obviously the bolter, so all this area that I've left here, including this front barrel here, magazine, everything, paint all this bolt gun metal. So just show you how I would do that. So all this section here as well. So I do that on both sides. And on this model, there's not a great deal I would actually use bolt gun metal for. Pretty much just the bolter itself. So I'll just show you where I would paint. Paint up on here as well, this section. So I'll do that on both sides. Make sure you get all the little bubbles out there where you've added water to the paint. So we'll be back in a second when I've finished all this metallic basing. I've just finished all the metallic sections, the bolt gun sections and the dwarf bronze. So now I'm going to focus on the little wolf teeth hanging off all over the model, and these little kind of runes or whatever they're called. So for that I use Dheneb Stone, and this is a foundation paint, so you're going to want to get a little bit of water with it, water it down a bit. So I'm just going to apply that straight on any teeth or these rune kind of things, which are really common in Space Wolves. Get a bit more paint. There's some you always find them hanging off guns or chainsaws or belts, loads of stuff. Shoulder pads as well, there's one here. Really easy to miss, and then you see them later on and you think, oh, I'm gonna have to go and paint that. So yeah, Dheneb Stone for all them. Okay, so when you paint the face, I'm going to use Talon Flesh, but if you using the new paints, you're probably going to want to use either rat skin flesh or Keslev flesh, depending on how light or dark you want it to look. So as the new paints aren't out yet, I'm just going to use Talon flesh for each skin. So as it's foundation paint, you're going to want a bit of water with it. So we'll put that down on the tile, and you're just going to apply that straight onto his face. Don't worry about it being needed, it's just a base coat, it doesn't really matter very much. Just make sure you're getting all the crevices and stuff. Don't worry about getting it in his mouth or on his teeth or anything like that, because you just get painted later. So we'll just cover that area, and I'll quickly show you the hair now. So I'm going to base coat the hair. Well, I'm going to base coat the hair in Scorched Brown, which is also Rhinox hide, new paints. This is the same colour as what we used to base coat the fur. So I'm just going to do his hair in this colour. Obviously, if you want black hair, you're just going to use black and then highlight with greys. But like brown hairs, you can use more colours. You've got more versatility in what types of colour you can use. So I'll just finish this off, and nearly at the end of this video. We're going to do, this is part 1 of base coat on the model. Part 2 is going to be adding the detail to the model, so I'll be back in a second. Alright, so that is the model, pretty much fully base coated. All the main colours are on there, so hopefully your model's in the same shape. You've got everything done on it. So the last thing I would say for this video, until the next video where we do the fine detail, you're going to want to use your washes. So the first wash I'm going to use is Badab Black. I'm going to use a wash brush. I'll put a little bit of water on it just to make the wash a bit thinner. Now you're going to want just get a nice amount on the brush, like about that much, and we're going to wash all the armour, especially in the recesses, like here. So what I like to do is I start in the recesses, then I just work my way out, and I wash the whole armour. It doesn't matter if it's a flat section or if it's a recess, I wash it, because you want the whole piece of armour to be all uniform colour. So I'll just, if I want it to be darker, I'll just obviously add it quite a bit more. So recesses in the feet, back of the foot. If you feel like it's a bit much, just add some more water to your brush, and you can easily wipe it away. So I'll just do all the legs just to show you where is a nice area to wash. So you can see it falls nicely into the recesses. Now I say I'm using Badab Black. In the new paints, this is called Nuln Oil. It's exactly the same thing, it's just the new paint, that's what I've called it. So the feet are a good example, you see, because it takes no skill. You literally brush it over the feet, it falls straight in the recess, it does all the hard work for you. We'll just cover the whole. I'll do all the legs and the feet just to show you as an example, and I'll finish the rest off when we're on rolling with the camera, so it doesn't get too boring. So up here, I just one nice even coat of it, nothing too over the top. Darken it down a little bit. Gonna want a really dark area in here, so add quite a lot in there. And the same on the other side of the leg, so get some more on there. So be back in a second with the next washing section. Okay, so the final little wash section of this first video is using Devlan Mud. If you're using the new paints, it is called Agrax Earth Shade. So with this, we're just going to apply it to these Dheneb Stone areas, like teeth, runes, stuff like that. If you're ever wondering how to convert the old paint to the new paint, the charts on the Games Workshop website, it's really easy to find. Other areas we're going to use this Devlan Mud for are the dwarf bronze areas that we did earlier, and this is just going to go on all the recesses. So I'll just get that in there now. Don't worry about putting a lot on, it's what you want. It'll give you nice deep tones. Just getting all these little areas where we've used these colours. Very thorough. So even on the back here as well. So used dwarf bronze. So you can see that brings out a nice rich tone, which we can highlight later in the next video. Another area we're going to use this paint is on his face, so just get it on there, don't worry. Idea is we'll darken it right down now, and then we'll lighten it up later with several layers of highlights. Just getting his mouth, just get it everywhere, just so it looks like that. That's the model. All the base coats are on there, the washes are on there. It's absolutely ready for the next stage, which is all of the layers of highlights and all the nice details which make your model your own and unique. So this is the end of this part. Part 2 will be coming very soon. In part 2 I'll just go over the entire model and show you every highlight, all the tones I bring in, and we'll be using a range of probably about 20 different paints to get this model looking really nice, like these finished models over here. So a little example there. If you're wondering about the base, I've got a separate video on the base, so check that out on the YouTube channel. And hope you liked it. Subscribe and join me again for part 2.